Welcome back. It's TTMTrades. Today we're gonna be talking about ticker BYND and where do I think, my personal opinion, this stock is going to hit as far as its next line of resistance, because it's been very bullish and on a tangent lately. So YouTube channel, please man, hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell so that way you catch all notifications when I post on there. And then also, if you don't know, we also have, let me switch it up, hold up, our Discord chat room, man. So be sure to check that out. Don't switch, don't do that. Right there, hold on. All right, yeah, so we got the new Discord chat room, man. So please check it out. We was up to 300 members. I was left for a year, had to deploy, and now I'm back. So we're trying to get that membership back up. We mainly trade stocks in this room. Well, stocks and stock options. All right, I know stock options are new to a lot of people. So right now we're just going to talk about ticker Bynd from a stock trading point of view, and everyone who trade options will already know what to do as far as that goes. Okay, all right, so let's just jump right into it. So with ticker Bynd today, it moved $20, as you can see, for 18% gain, and it has been on a tear. Now we've been watching Bynd since, man, what, November? We've been watching ticker Bynd. No, not November. Mid-December is when we started watching ticker Bynd, and we started playing call and put options on it. Me and my homeboy, when we was deployed, and we actually was playing these up and down, these little up and down consolidation patterns as it moved sideways. Okay. And it's kind of hard to catch these patterns if you're looking at it from a daily point of view. But when you zoom in, I go intraday 2 hour, 30 minute, 5 minute. If you trade based off one time frame, I'm telling you right now, you are wrong. All right. You are wrong. And I don't care what you say. All right. So if you're not using multiple time frame analysis to hit your entry and exit points, you need to. All right. And if you don't know how to do that, then that's all the more reason you need to go down to the bottom and join my Discord, so that way I can teach you. Okay. Now, with that being said, we knew that ticker BYND was going to break out. All right. Everything about it, the setup, everything was beautiful. Again, we were playing these up and down maneuvers. The biggest thing we were waiting on mid-December was for ticker Bynd to break above its 150 period moving average on the 2 hour time frame. Okay, we knew once it broke above its 2 hour 150 period moving time frame, then we knew at that point that the momentum has picked up, and it broke that line of resistance, and it was ready to go on a run. All right. Along with that, the news that helped, that one of their primary competitors, Impossible Foods, which also makes the different patties and everything that's competing with them, the news that they no longer was pursuing, I guess, a contract with McDonald's to make veggie burgers. I guess that kind of gave ticker Bynd its initial momentum to continue pushing, and then the push today with the news that Starbucks was looking at different options as far as trying to find healthier ways, as far as what they offer, and that with Starbucks jumping into that arena along with, Burger King and McDonald's, that leaves ticker BYND to be one of the front runners along with Impossible Foods to tap into those markets, which are pretty big markets. So that kind of helped propel the stock. But we knew, as far as the pattern, we knew we was going to get a solid breakout. Okay. Now, again, went on this downtrend starting back in September. The ticker hasn't been around that long, so as you can see, we don't have that much data going back as far as my PMO, my Bollinger Bandwidth, and my RSI. But we seen this downtrend on the tear, and we pretty much didn't pay no attention to this. Okay. Once ticker Bynd went on that downtrend and it started trending sideways, holding above that 1 and 2 standard deviation Bollinger Band, with the PMO curling up to show that the downward momentum was slowing down, that's when it began to catch our attention, and that's when we started looking at it in mid-December. Now, where I messed up at was mid-December. I traded call options on ticker Beyond from that 72 up to 80 range. Was scared about that 150 period moving average. Got out. Didn't play puts. It pulled back again. And then we traded it again, more call options back into the 150 period moving average. We got out, because it wasn't certain that it was going to break above it. Started pulling back. When it pulled back and did that move, that's when we started trading call options on Tesla. And we completely forgot about ticker BYND. Okay. Ticker BYND, once it had made this initial breakout above that 150 period moving average and even ran up to 88 on that pullback right here, once we started seeing that consolidation. Now this is the 2-hour chart. We're going to zoom in on the 30 minutes so we can see this move in a way more fine line detail, right? So mid January, you can see the pullback here, more early January. So we'll zoom in, and as you can see, this is that pullback early January we was looking at on the 2-hour time frame. As we begin to see that pullback and it holds above its simple period moving average of 30 within the Bollinger Bands and found support, then we knew initially right there that this momentum would continue, and there was time to make a lot of profit within ticker Beyond. Now, with that being said, we constantly watched the PMO as it came down from that downtrend and finally crossed above its 2 moving averages. It was still below 0, so we knew it was in that bear territory, so we didn't want to get too bullish on this, but it was holding above its averages and beginning to move sideways, showing that the stock was consolidating in that downtrend. Now, as it continued to move up and kind of test that 0 line and then finally broke out, again, that was another signal that we knew this one was going to run and quite for some time, okay? And as you can see on the 30-minute chart, when we zoom in to see this move in a more finer detail, that initial breakout, again, with the PMO on the 30, holding above its averages, constantly holding, and then, it started to slow down a little bit. And once we got that cross, then, to exit out, okay? Now, I didn't play any calls or puts on this one, okay? And I'm kind of sad I didn't play any calls or puts on this because it was a lot of money missed out on this one, okay? All I'm talking about this is from a perspective of me going to play calls on this one and where it could go in the future. Now, again, from 15 January, we even say 14 January, all the way up to 17 January, you can see the PMO begin to slow down. It's still above its 0 line, so it's still in bullish territory. I tell a lot of traders, even though the PMO crosses down and below its 2 averages, yes, it's a warning that you should tiptoe with the stock and just kind of be careful. It doesn't necessarily mean the stock is going to go on a horrible downtrend. It just means that stock is consolidating and pulling back, right, to give it a rest to kind of build a new strong line of support, waiting for fresh buyers to come in, okay? Now, anytime this PMO crosses below its 2 averages and goes down below the 0 line, then a downtrend is picking up and the momentum is picking up for that stock to break down further, okay? But once we got this break back up right here today on the 21st of January, now we're going to shift from the 30-minute chart to the 5-minute chart. You can see this breakout nice and clean, all right? Again, the PMO was beginning to tick up on the intraday 5-minute chart to let us know that some buying was occurring. Started retesting that 150 period moving average on this 5-minute chart, and then that news this morning gave it a lot of momentum to push it back up and begin running again. Now, the PMO on the 5-minute chart is pulling back. Doesn't mean the stock is going in a downtrend. It just means the upward momentum has slowed down. It is consolidating. Bulls and bears are going back and forth trying to find some type of equilibrium with the price action. And as you can see, it's beginning to curl back up to go on another run, okay? Now, me as a option trader, volatility is very important to me, okay? And I'm just going to touch bases on this a little bit. Again, subscribe to the channel and join the Discord chat room if you want to work more in depth on this. But volatility is very big to option traders, those who trade options, okay? And I utilize the Bollinger Bandwidth to know when a trend is consolidating and the volatility is very low and when it is going to break out. The Bollinger Bandwidth is perfect for that, okay? It helps me identify trends that are consolidating and when they are ticking down for a breakout. So again, with the Bollinger Band, with here, we can see it was below its average, very flat, right, representing the price action here. As it broke above its average, it showed me that the volatility was picking up, and then you get this big move showing a high wave of volatility. All right, now that downtrend, it kind of, as I see the PMO slow down and I see the Bollinger Band width begin to trickle back down, that shows me that this stock is consolidating all over again. So the reason we started looking at it in mid-December again was because the Bollinger Band width was flat, telling me that the stock was consolidating and we had another breakout coming. Okay, now with that being said, me seeing the PMO flat and it's moving towards its averages, and then again me tuning in intraday and seeing the PMO ticking up to show intraday momentum is picking up, I knew that another breakout was bound to happen here soon, and then we got that breakout. Now, on the day-to-day time frame, the stock is very volatile. It's already moving at a high rate of speed, okay? So what we want to do is we want to time our entry on a day-to-day basis so we can continue to ride that upward momentum, okay? So with that being said, we zoom back into the 2-hour time frame, because the 2-hour time frame gives me a more finer detail of what's going on a day-to-day basis, and it helps me pre-make my moves prior to the bigger price action happening on a daily time frame. So again, looking at the 2-hour, what we can see here, we might see a little bit of pullback, nothing too heavy, but again, had this upward thrust we was talking about from the McDonald's news, begin pulling back again, consolidating, and then you get another slight breakout here on the Starbucks news. Now the Bollinger Band width, the BBW line is beginning to trickle back down again. So what does that mean to me? All right, that means that this stock is performing in this price range right here of about 106 to 135. If the BBW, the Bollinger Band width, is trickling down below its average, that lets me know that the Bollinger Bands are tightening. All right, meaning that when it broke out of the bands expanded to reflect the volatility within the price action. Now we see the stock is kind of fluctuating in this area, and you can see the bands that were once wide are beginning to tighten back up, meaning that the price action is consolidating in a specific range, and based off that consolidation, the Bollinger Bands are catching up to that said volatility, and it's beginning to constrict again. All right, now with that happening, that lets me know that there's another big move around the corner, and I want to time this entry. Okay, so we already see on the 2-hour chart the price action is kind of consolidating. It's below average as far as volatility. We zoom on the 30-minute again. You can kind of see the breakout again here. Bollinger Band width pretty low. You get the breakout on high volatility, falls back below its average to show that the volatility of the price action is consolidating. Again, you get another breakout, run to the upside. The bands begin to constrict, hence the Bollinger Band width coming all the way back down to show the constriction of the bands. And then we know another breakout here is bound to happen. We see the price is still in, the PMO is still in positive territory. The RSI is already bouncing up and down around its averages, and then you finally get the breakout and another run again. Okay, so we want to time our next entry. All right, so me looking at BYND, if we zoom all the way into the 5-minute chart, again, even intraday, the price action started consolidating right around 121 and that 126 range. Again, the Bollinger Band width, the bands began tightening one more time, and then we could see that it was preparing for another breakout, and then boom, you get the breakout here. Okay, so this is how option traders, well, me myself as an option trader, I time volatility. All right, but looking at this overall momentum, I believe that you'll get this run up here to one, back up to 135 for a retest, and then I think the stock may cool down and take a pullback intraday. All right, this is when we start watching the 5 and 30-minute chart for entries, but I do think it needs to retest that 135 as we look at the 2-hour chart, and then kind of do some sideways consolidation, do some more base building as far as the bulls if they want to get another leg going. Once they build that base, I would say within that 120 to 135 range. We don't know yet what tomorrow is going to bring. Once I see that base building and I see the 2-hour chart continue to consolidate again in this price range, as it is going to do here in the near future, once I see my Bollinger Band width become all the way down, and I don't want to say all the way down, but as it comes a little further down, I give it to around 20 to 25 to allow the bands to constrict a little bit more. Once I see that, I'm going to zoom in into my 30 and my 5-minute chart and check my PMO to look for a momentum swing to begin making my entry. Okay, because I believe ticker BYND is going to continue running for about another 2 to 3 weeks. Now, where do I think that line of resistance is at? Now, when we was playing this back mid-December, riding these waves, my initial price target was the lower standard 1 deviation Bollinger Band at 83. Okay, it initially pushed through that line of resistance, hence reflecting the old resistance back in this area. And again, we stopped paying attention to it because it's playing Tesla and different stocks. And then it pushed up into that middle Bollinger Band for a test back into that 135 realm, where you can see a lot of selling took place, a lot of sell-off, profit taking, and a lot of these traders who were probably right here holding this stock since September dumped their shares on the buyers who was pushing this price back up. What's beautiful about this is, even though this pushed up back into that line of resistance right around 128 to 135, and all of these traders over here dumped their shares that was stuck because they had the opportunity to either break even and cover their loss that they had, and or make a small profit if they were able to make a profit at all, give or take. Even though they dumped all their shares on top of the fresh buyers that was coming in early to mid-January, and you get this large sell-off right here to try to help all these people over here break even, the following week the stock continued to push back up into that price range, and it's pushing hard. So if we already got this high volume spike of buyers buying and then people taking profit, along with the traders who were stuck here selling off their shares, and then the stock still held its momentum to begin pushing back up this week, then the stock is very strong as far as its momentum. So my next line of resistance, me being a Bollinger Band trader, okay, will be, because the Bollinger Bands, again, if you want to learn about the Bollinger Bands, I can talk about them all day. Go join the Discord, subscribe to the YouTube. All right, I love Bollinger Bands, but I'm gonna give you a little bit about Bollinger Bands. What I love about Bollinger Bands, and I don't use one, I use a double Bollinger Band strategy. Bollinger Bands will conform to the price action, and based off the bands will illustrate support and resistance for the price action in whatever time frame you're looking for, because the bands adjust to what the price action is currently doing and what has been done in the past. Okay, so for this band to reflect that 130 initial resistance, right, that goes back to support right around in this area where the initial support was at. We broke through that support, or we're working our way through that support at 129 currently, but as we push back through that area, which I think we're going to do, our next line of resistance is 166. So anybody that's trading this, I think it would be a good trade. From 125 is a good entry, allowed to pull back, and trade it from 125 up to 126 if you still trade stocks. Now, if you're an option trader, given that this is a weekly time frame, I would definitely buy call options once the stock begins consolidating, and I would look to make an entry. I'm not going to tell you what your strike price need to be. I'll let you determine that. And I would look to make an entry once it begins to consolidate for another breakout, the bands, and I would look to hold it for about a month. Ticker BYND, hold it for about a month, and this is definitely going to run up and test that 166 resistance. Now that 166, 167, if we round up, resistance reflects what? It reflects this old area of resistance, right, where the stock finally dipped down and it ran up to 172, rejected, 161 rejected, 151 rejected, finally broke down. So now we're pushing back up into this area, and we're going to retest. We already retested the old support, got a huge sell-off. Fresh buyers came back in and pushed this back up. So now we're going to retest this 180, excuse me, not 180, that 166 area, right where the price action was initially topping off at. Now, once the price push backs up into that area, then I think we'll get another huge sell-off again. Because again, think about it from this perspective, and I always say this in my videos. Imagine you was trading ticker Beyond back in August and September going into October, and you took huge positions right here because the stock was just on fire, and you took huge positions thinking that this thing was consolidating for another breakout, and then it does this to you and break down, and you're still holding. Yeah, you're holding that bag. You're holding the major L right now. All right, and you never sold off, but you're holding the major L right now. Your account is red. Okay, if the stock begins to push back up into that old area where you were holding, and you get a chance to break even and or make a quick profit and unload those shares so you can get a fresh start on your account, what you think you're gonna do? Psychologically, if you're a good trader, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna unload your shares and start fresh. So it's a lot of traders in this area from early August to late September that's probably holding a lot of shares, and they're waiting for this to push back up into their price range so they can dump those shares. So as we push back up into that 166 range, if you are playing options and or you're just trading the stock to trade it, I would definitely take profit right in that range and prepare for the dump that's going to happen right here. Let the stock pull back, and then again, if fresh buyers come in to try to push back through that area, then we know we're looking at 200 to 208 where that next line of resistance is at, and that covers these tops right in this area. Okay. But yeah, ticker BYND is on fire. Tesla's on fire. It's a lot of stocks that's on fire ever since the Trump-China trade deal went through. So again, TTMTrades. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button. Check out the Discord chat room. All right, if you want to learn how I trade and my different strategies and what I use. Again, this chat room is trading stocks and options. That is it. That is a specific niche that we focus on. All right, so if you're not into trading stocks or options, then this isn't the chat room for you, but we focus on a specific niche, so that way we can all make money together. If you see me keep looking to the left, it's because I have to switch the screens on this side. But yeah, TTMTrades, man, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below. If you have further questions, join the Discord chat room. Shoot me a message. I'll be glad to answer them. Other than that, I'm out to the next video. See you next time. If I can find the stop button.